Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks everybody for coming. Thank you. I originally had 60 seconds. Maybe I'll take a little bit longer than that. But thanks all for coming out. And a big part of my job is always thanking people. A number of people have already been thanked, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. But I wanted to give examples of the kind of work and the kinds of initiatives that have been going on in the Asian American community here in Fairfax County just over the last few months, because it's been a real pleasure to work with everybody. First off, going back into the past just a little bit, is Tony, I know I saw Tony is here, and let's give him a big round because he got Carva. He's been working for the Chinese American Republic of the region for many, many years, keeping that organization going, and then now Bill Hofat is the president now. They've been doing a terrific job, but I also specifically, speaking of the Chinese community, wanted to mention the kind of thing that's been particularly helpful to us and to the campaign on the ground. Daniel Fang is somewhere in the room. He was here earlier. He came to us and requested training for poll watchers because he was concerned about the integrity of the election, and so he got a group together of people who had been trained by our elections chairman to work at the polls, inside the polls on election day. And that was an initiative coming out of the Chinese community, which has been very helpful to us, and we appreciate that. Another example, Harold Pion with the Korean community at the Chorus Festival, which is a big event that we have, most of you are familiar with it every year. And one of the things that we're pushing this year at the local level, Charles Hernick mentioned earlier, is opposition to the meals tax. And that seems like a small thing to a lot of people. And in the scheme of the things with the presidential campaign, it is a small thing. But at the same time, there are a lot of small business owners, we all know, in the Asian community. And Harold made a point, there were a lot of vendors there. Lots of people selling food. Almost all of them from the Asian community. Well, he went to every single one and made sure they knew about the meals tax and had them all wearing the no meals tax button, a sticker, okay? And one reason that's important is that if people come out to vote against the meals tax, they're likely to vote on other things. If they don't come out, they're not going to be able to vote. The meals tax gives people a reason to come out to vote who might not otherwise be engaged. So that's one reason we've really been pushing that. And thank you, Harold, for your work on that. Another thing related to the meals tax, Ando, we talked about that. There was an event in the Vietnamese community about 3 weeks ago, and specifically on the meals tax, because that was of such concern to the Vietnamese community. And the Vietnamese Chamber of Commerce and the Vietnamese community in general have come out and have urged their membership to vote against the meals tax on election day. And so we want them to go to the polls because that issue really matters to the small business owners and it matters to everybody. So that's a little bit, I won't talk anymore about that, but that's an example of the kind of things that people have been doing in the Asian community and that have been so important. Two other quick points I'd like to make. We have been working, going back many months, as many people know. I mentioned Daniel and the poll watcher training. We've been working really, really hard on the ground, getting yard signs out, getting people to go to door. I came here from our headquarters. We had a steady stream all day, starting at 9 o'clock in the morning, people coming in, getting trained if they hadn't been trained already, or picking up materials. We have hundreds of thousands of pieces of literature in our office that we want to get out door to door over the next 10 days. So it's been very, very busy, all fall long, and especially in the last couple of weeks. And so we really thank everybody who's been participating in that. The last topic I want to touch on is something that Charles Hernick mentioned. As Tony knows, when I first met with Carva, we talked at that point about one of the reasons that I've particularly been, as chairman, there are a lot of reasons why the Republican Party needs to work hard at bringing in and developing stronger relationships with the many ethnic communities here in Fairfax County. But one of the reasons that this has mattered to me personally is that I grew up in Latin America, and I remember having a great meeting with the Carva people on this, and I know what it's like to be the only person in the class with blue eyes, okay? So I understand, at least a little bit, what the children and younger people who come to this country from other countries go through when they're thrown into this environment. And they don't speak the language, they don't understand the culture, and they stick out. And I think when we had that meeting with Carva, that impressed people, and I felt, I understand what people are going through. And as a party, we have to find ways to make those introductions and improve those relationships. And so I'm very, very sensitive to that, but I want to thank Tony again for his help on that. So that's something that we've been working on. But at the same time, that upbringing in Latin America, and this is something Charles mentioned earlier, emphasized, or it taught me the importance of cultural values and the constitutional system that we have here in this country. The importance of the rule of law. You don't really own anything if someone else can take it away from you at a moment's notice. You can't really get a start in life and make a life for yourself if you have to bribe a government official to A, let you have it in the first place, and B, keep it over time. You know, if the government is basically run corruptly or like a gangster kind of situation, you can't get ahead in life. It's unfair, it's wrong, and it stifles everything that's human about us. We are on the verge now, if Hillary Clinton gets elected, if there's one thing that we can all agree on, when Donald Trump says that we can't elect crooked Hillary, I mean, is there any doubt about that? I mean, she is the epitome of corruption. And that is something that in this country, look, we've had bad politicians, we've had crooked politicians, we've had all kinds of problems. There's no question about it. But this country has always prided itself on having fair elections and politicians who at least were going to follow the rules. Frankly, I will be ashamed. I won't be unhappy. I won't be disappointed. I won't be angry. Oh, I should. I will be all of those things. But I will be ashamed if Hillary Clinton gets elected. Okay? And Donald Trump is not going to tolerate anything like that in government. He's simply not going to abide it. And he's going to make sure that the playing field is level and fair and that people have a fair opportunity to get ahead. Cliff is standing up. I'm just about done. So on election day, vote no on the meals tax. Vote for Charles Hernick if you live in the 8th District. Vote for Barbara Comstock if you live in the 10th. And please, please, please vote for Donald Trump. Thank you.